Welcome to Recruitment Revised, the podcast that helps you hire smarter, job search better, and stay ahead in today's ever-changing talent landscape. I'm Kim Acosta, director and founder of Ucentric, a technology recruitment firm passionate about unlocking potential and driving success. I'm also a former Amazon talent acquisition manager, so I've been both an internal and an external recruitment leader. I'm here to share first-hand insights, expert strategies, and real-world stories to help you navigate the job market with confidence, whether you're hiring or looking for your next big opportunity. Let's revise and explore recruitment together. Welcome back to Recruitment Revised with Kim Acosta, the podcast that helps you navigate your job search and hiring with confidence. And today we are diving into one of the most enduring and effective interview methodologies when it comes to behavioral questions, the STAR method. If you've ever had a behavioral interview, chances are you've come across this method, whether you realize it or not. This method is best used for singular examples, so don't try to cram in multiple examples when it comes to answering behavioral interview questions using this technique. Think about a single example and go deep with that. So why is STAR so important? Essentially, because it works. For both candidates and interviewers, it provides a structured, foolproof way to assess real-world experience and also problem-solving abilities. So let's break it down. Now, what is the STAR framework? STAR stands for situation. What was the challenge, project, or problem you are trying to solve? And it's also very helpful in this section to outline what negative outcomes would have continued to occur within the business had you not stepped in. Task essentially stands for your responsibility or your objective in resolving the problem at hand. Action, this is where you explain each step that you undertook to address the problem. Now, in this part, you should always be using I rather than we so that it is clear to your interviewer what your contribution was when trying to solve for the problem. And finally, result. Highlight the outcome of your actions and the quantifiable impact it's had on the business. Here, do not be vague. If your actions led to an increase in revenue, specify the dollar amount. If they led to time savings and reporting times, for instance, talk about the hours or the days that you saved. This structure actually ensures that your responses are clear, that they're relevant and insightful, rather than rambling or vague. Your interviewer should then be able to prompt you whether they require further information or to gather further data from your example. Why is the STAR method foolproof? Well, number one, it forces clarity. By breaking down your response into 4 key elements, it prevents you from getting lost with unnecessary detail. Number 2, it highlights impact. Employers don't just want to hear about what you did, they want to know what the results were of your actions and what impact it had on the business. Number 3, it keeps things concise. A well-structured STAR response is typically about 3 to 5 minutes long, which is ideal to keep an interview engaging. Number 4, it aligns with competency-based hiring. Many companies, including Amazon, Google, and consulting firms, rely heavily on behavioral interviews to assess key skills and values, so STAR fits right in. Now, I wanted to share some advice on how to craft a strong STAR response. When preparing your examples, these key points definitely come to mind for me. Ensure that the examples that you are sharing are relatively recent. So examples from the last 12 to 24 months are ideal. You need to be able to recall all the finer details in case you are prompted, so recent examples really help. Make sure that the examples that you provide actually match the role's scope and impact. So your answer should reflect the level of responsibility expected in this job. This ties to the point around recency. So you don't want to be providing low impact examples from early in your career if you're going for a senior leadership role, for instance. I would also think about avoiding BAU examples. So especially when you know that the organization is expecting someone to raise the bar or increase the capability of the current team, think about not what you do day to day, but think about the times that you went truly above and beyond the expectations of your role. And finally, keep the discussion data-driven. Wherever possible, include quantifiable results. So, I increased efficiency by 20%, or I saved the company $50,000 as a result of my initiative. So always bring it back to data. Now, I want to talk about tying STAR to competencies and company values. So with most behavioral questions, they actually tie back to a key competency, behavior, or value that the company prioritizes. For example, Amazon's leadership principles. They really value customer obsession, ownership, deliver results, etc. In terms of Google, their hiring attributes that they look for include an ability to problem solve, leadership, and googliness. And in terms of some of your consulting firms, such as McKinsey, BCG, or Bain, they're looking for structured thinking, collaboration, and influence. So how do you figure out what matters most to a company? I would check their careers page or check for any company values stated on their website. I would also speak to a recruiter who could provide you insights, whether that's the external recruiter you're working with or the internal in-house recruiter of that organization. I'd also network with current employees to understand what's truly valued in that organization and find out a little bit more about the culture. Now, I wanted to also provide everybody with a couple of STAR response examples. So say you're discussing a success story, and the question is, tell me about a time you solved a challenging problem. What did you do and what was the outcome? So a response may sound a little bit like this. So our sales team was struggling with an outdated reporting tool, leading to delayed insights and lost revenue opportunities. As the data analyst of the team, my role was to design a more efficient reporting system that reduced delays and improved decision-making capabilities. This meant eliminating manual data pools, reducing error, and ensuring that key stakeholders had real-time access to critical metrics. So the actions I undertook was that I conducted stakeholder interviews to identify their pain points. Then I developed a new automated dashboard using Python and Tableau. I designed a number of scripts that then pulled data effectively from our CRM, ensuring that the reports were updated in real time. I also provided some training sessions to ensure that the team adopted and continued the effectiveness of my new reporting initiatives. As a result, the sales team could now make real-time data-driven decisions, resulting in a 15% increase in sales conversions within 6 months. Additionally, report generation time decreased by 60%, allowing analysts to focus on higher value tasks. So I also want to share a STAR response related to a failure story, and I'll explain why this is important a little later on. But say the question is, tell me about a time you made a mistake and how you handled it. What did you do and what was the outcome? So an example could be, early in my career, I miscalculated project inventory needs for a product launch. It led to a shortage that impacted our ability to meet customer demand. So the task at hand was, as the supply chain analyst, I was responsible for forecasting demand and ensuring that inventory levels were sufficient to support new product launches. I needed to improve forecasting accuracy whilst mitigating future risks associated with incorrect data demands and projections. The action I undertook was that once I realized the mistake, I immediately owned up to the issue and alerted my manager. I collaborated with vendors to expedite shipments and worked with the operations team to prioritize back orders. To prevent future issues, I conducted a root cause analysis and implemented a new forecasting model incorporating historical data and machine learning predictions. I also developed a cross-functional communication plan to ensure early detection of potential supply chain risk. As a result, while we initially faced a stockout, my approach reduced downtime to just 3 days instead of the expected 2 weeks. The improved forecasting model prevented similar issues in future launches, and leadership implemented my communication plan as best practice across the entire department. As mentioned, I wanted to discuss the importance of failure stories. So as a former recruiter and former bar raiser in training at Amazon, I noticed a common mistake. Candidates were often great at talking about their successes, but completely unprepared to discuss failures or mistakes. This will definitely raise concern among your interviewers. In careers, everybody makes mistakes. What hiring managers are looking for is that they want to know how you handled them. So when preparing failure stories, be very honest about what went wrong. Show humility and self-awareness and emphasize what you learned and how you applied that learning moving forward. It's also very helpful to be able to say, if you were given a similar situation today, what would you do differently? A strong failure story demonstrates emotional intelligence, maturity, resilience, and a learning mindset. All very highly desirable traits. Don't be ashamed of failures or mistakes, as these are important to learning and improving your career. So my final thoughts as to why STAR is here to stay. The STAR method remains a gold standard in behavioral interviewing because A, it keeps responses structured and impactful. B, it helps interviewers fairly assess candidates across key competencies. And C, it encourages candidates to showcase both successes and learning moments. So the next time you're preparing for an interview, make STAR your go-to framework. It's simple, it's effective, and most importantly, it works. Thanks for tuning into Recruitment Revised. If you found this episode helpful, subscribe, share it with a friend, or leave us a review. Until next time, wishing you the very best with your job search. Thank you.